There's a type of company that manages more wealth than most nations. You've never heard their names. That's intentional. Family offices exist in the shadows of global finance, not because they're hiding, because discretion is their product. While the world obsesses over hedge funds and investment banks, family offices move billions without fanfare, without press releases, without your attention. They are the ultimate expression of dynastic wealth management, private, bespoke, accountable to no one but the family itself. A family office isn't a fund, it's a sovereignty. Imagine a Fortune 500 company where the only shareholders are blood relatives, where the board meetings discuss not quarterly earnings, but generational legacy, where profit is measured in centuries, not fiscal years. This is what a family office provides: total control over total wealth. Single-family offices manage the fortunes of individual dynasties, the Waltons, the Mars family, names you know from products, not from finance pages. Their offices employ dozens, sometimes hundreds, tax strategists, art advisors, political consultants, security specialists, philanthropic directors. Multifamily offices serve several ultra-high net worth families simultaneously. They offer the same white-glove service with shared infrastructure, more efficient, less exposed. But both share one principle: privacy is paramount. The public thinks family offices pick stocks. They're thinking too small. Family offices orchestrate empires. They structure acquisitions most people will never connect to their client. They negotiate treaties between family members that would make diplomats envious. They plan for contingencies 3 generations ahead. Consider what they actually do on any given day. They're purchasing a historic estate in the Cotswolds through 7 shell companies, negotiating a private sale of a Basquiat before it hits auction, structuring a trust in the Cayman Islands that will protect assets through wars and revolutions, arranging a meeting between their client and a head of state, managing the family's private aviation fleet, vetting the security detail for a daughter's gap year in Southeast Asia. They handle what wealth actually requires, not maximizing returns, managing complexity. Here's what separates family offices from every other financial institution: alignment. A wealth manager at a bank serves hundreds of clients. His incentive is volume, commission, growth at scale. He needs you to trade, to invest, to generate fees. A family office serves one master: the family's enduring prosperity. If that means holding cash for 3 years while waiting for the right opportunity, so be it. If that means advising against a vanity acquisition, that's the advice given. There's no product to sell, no benchmark to beat, no quarterly performance review from external shareholders. Just one question: is the family better positioned than yesterday? This changes everything. It allows for patience that public markets cannot comprehend. It enables bets that traditional finance would consider insane. It permits silence when others are forced to explain themselves. The family office can say no to opportunities that look good on paper but feel wrong in practice. They can pursue passion projects that won't generate returns for decades. They can operate on instinct honed over generations. Because they're not managing money, they're managing legacy. Most people don't realize how deep the infrastructure goes. Family offices don't just invest, they build parallel systems. They maintain private intelligence networks that would rival corporate espionage operations. They know about political instability before it reaches cable news. They understand regulatory changes before legislation is filed. They track commodities, currencies, and cultural shifts with a sophistication that puts government agencies to shame. They employ specialists you didn't know existed, art authenticators who can detect a forgery at 30 paces, wine consultants who manage cellars worth more than suburban neighborhoods, education advisors who secure admissions to institutions that don't officially accept applications, security professionals trained by intelligence services, estate managers who run properties like small municipalities. They structure entities across jurisdictions, a foundation in Liechtenstein, a trust in Singapore, holdings in Luxembourg, real estate through a Delaware LLC, each layer providing protection, privacy, and strategic advantage. This isn't evasion, it's architecture. And it's completely legal because family offices can afford the best lawyers, the best accountants, the best advisors in every domain. They don't break rules, they operate where rules become suggestions. Wall Street thinks in quarters, family offices think in generations. This temporal arbitrage is their greatest weapon. They can hold illiquid investments for decades. They can weather recessions without panic selling. They can commit capital to opportunities that won't mature until their grandchildren are running the office. When markets crash, they're buying. When everyone else is euphoric, they're taking profits. Not because they're smarter, because they can afford to wait. Consider the family office that purchased farmland in the Midwest in the 1970s, not for immediate returns, for food security 3 generations hence, or the one that acquired water rights in the American West in the 1980s, not for profit, for control of an increasingly scarce resource. These aren't investments, they're acts of foresight that border on prophecy. The darkest secret of family offices: most wealthy families lose their fortunes by the 3rd generation. Family offices exist to prevent this. They don't just manage assets, they manage continuity. They educate heirs not just in wealth management, but in wealth psychology, the responsibility, the burden, the discipline required to steward rather than squander. They arrange apprenticeships. They create governance structures that prevent one irresponsible heir from destroying centuries of accumulation. They establish family constitutions that outline values, expectations, and consequences. They understand that wealth without wisdom is just a countdown timer. The best family offices don't just preserve capital, they preserve purpose. They ensure that each generation understands they're not owners, but custodians, that the wealth isn't theirs to spend, but theirs to protect. This is how dynasties endure. In a world of noise, family offices offer something more valuable than returns: silence. They allow their clients to be invisible, to operate without scrutiny, to make moves without explanation, to fail privately and succeed quietly. This is the ultimate luxury in the modern age. Not a yacht, not a jet, not a trophy estate. Privacy. The ability to live, invest, and build without the world watching, without regulators questioning, without journalists investigating, without competitors tracking. Family offices create a membrane between their clients and the chaos of public existence. They handle what needs handling. They buffer what needs buffering. They solve what needs solving, all while ensuring their client's name appears nowhere. As wealth concentrates, family offices multiply. What was once the exclusive domain of European aristocracy and American industrial titans is now the standard for anyone with significant assets. The threshold keeps dropping. What required $1 billion 20 years ago now requires $200 million. But the principle remains unchanged. When you have enough wealth, you don't outsource its management to institutions with conflicting interests. You build your own institution, one that serves only you, one that operates by your rules, one that exists solely to ensure your family's prosperity across time. This is the final evolution of wealth management, not a service, a sovereignty. Family offices prove something most people refuse to accept. At a certain level of wealth, the game changes completely. It's no longer about making money, it's about making dynasties, about building structures that outlive you, about creating systems that protect and propagate your values long after you're gone. The ultra-wealthy don't think about retirement, they think about centuries. And family offices are the instruments that turn that thinking into reality. Quiet, powerful, invisible. The way real wealth has always preferred to operate.